Hello, I'm Daniel. This talk is called Be Real and Live Your Best Life. Be real and live your best life. I wanted to give this talk about an old Buddhist teaching to see if I can tie it into our everyday life and make it meaningful to us. Some of these old teachings are really hard to make meaningful to us, I think. This is called the Four Gates, and it's from Zen Master Bodhidharma, who is credited with delivering the Zen tradition from India to China. You don't have to know that though. But he listed these four things that he thought were important to us as we start on the Buddhist path. And I'm going to go through them one by one. So the first one is called, and don't let this wording throw you, retribution of enmity. So in our lives, we need to realize when we're wrong. We need to admit our flaws and not lie to ourselves so much all the time. Because that's what we do. We lie to ourselves all the time. Often, when we think about ourselves, we're either lifting ourselves up and pretending we're better than we are, or we're tearing ourselves down and thinking very lowly of ourselves. We're thinking we're the worst. We rarely see ourselves clearly. When we do something wrong, we need to admit it, and we need to try to make it better. We need to try to be better. I'm trying to learn how to stop saying I'm sorry and learn how to say I will do better instead. Because when you say I'm sorry, you're sort of putting an expectation on the other person to say I forgive you or to say it's okay or whatever. And so I want to learn how to say I will try harder, I will do better instead of I'm sorry. We should try to forgive people, but we should also focus on trying to be better rather than trying to get forgiveness so we don't have to apologize all the time. The second gate is called acceptance of circumstances. Sometimes this is called equanimity. It is our ability to weather the storms of life, to be moderately content with whatever's happening. Sometimes we really let life tear us down over big things and small things. We're talking about accepting things and having an even mind, not falling apart when things go wrong. Sometimes one bad thing goes wrong and it ruins everything for us. In Buddhism, we call this quality that we're trying to develop equanimity. Sometimes we call it patience as well. We're talking about keeping an even mind with whatever's happening, because the truth is, life is going to kick us all the time. Life is going to kick us all the time. And we need to learn how to accept things one way or the other. We need to learn how to accept things. The third one is called absence of craving. And that is, we shouldn't be giving in to our temptations all the time. We should be mindful of what we're doing, and we should know when something is not a good idea. I have a habit of giving into my temptations all the time, and that's something a lot of people struggle with. There's all sorts of temptations. We might eat all our kids' Halloween candy or drink too much, either alcohol or soda. There's so many ways we can overconsume and give into craving, and sometimes we feel like there's a hole in us that we need to fill. We crave all sorts of things and we pursue them way too much. We even think about sex too much. That's a craving too. We have all sorts of cravings, and Bodhidharma is telling us we need to learn how to manage that and not get carried away with our cravings all the time. We've all had the experience where we know we shouldn't indulge in something, but we really want to do it anyway, so we do it. And I think we can all relate to that. Bodhidharma is telling us that we need to rein that in. We need to make the best choices we can instead of giving into our temptations all the time, because those take us off track and they can cause all sorts of problems. Think about what you're doing and don't overdo it. That's the most important message here. And fourth, act in accordance with the Dharma. Now that sounds really heavy, but to us, this might not resonate very well. Act in accordance with the Dharma, that's a heavy word. So with all respect to Bodhidharma, I want to paraphrase that and say, act to be real and live your best life. When he talks about being in accordance, he's talking about living our best life and seeing the way the world is and learning about our place in it. Being more aware, attentive, mindful, and honest with ourselves. The Dharma is sort of the correct way of understanding reality, of letting life unfold as it should. We should be real, fully real. In a world full of people that are lying to themselves and lying to others and not being authentic, we should be real and genuine in our relationships in all situations. real, be real. And I like to say that is the core of what this practice is about. It's about being real, being here and being real. Because it's very easy to not be real. It's easy to lie to others, it's easy to lie to ourselves. This path is about being fully open and genuine and facing whatever the consequences of being real are, instead of being afraid to be ourselves. So, that was the teaching of the 4 Zen Gates. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say.